This is a poem called Solid Object. And it was written the same night that I heard Simon Ortiz, the Acoma Indian poet, read at the University of Albuquerque, New Mexico. So this starts off as a short address to him, dealing with what he was doing very cursorily, and then I move on. Solid object. Simon, you stand on both boots, a rock that could fall, overlooking the rivers winding, the cottonwoods, grasshoppers clacking in the brush, the darker, damped sand of the bank. You are reading poems to us, pushing your glasses back up your small nose, the voice like reeds swaying that talked of your loves, about teaching your son Raho, and about shadow dreams that ride away in greyhounds, that live far back in the hills, gone forever into night's steaming transports. Now I think of my mother and father. I think of my brothers, my sister who is no longer a child, now ready to taste a lover's flesh. I think of time's simplicity that marks stones with its slow passing. That is the way to record, slowly, of necessity, as I pass and the galaxies with their swirling gases pass me. I want Laura to have these markings, these zones, to give her strength in this world, to make her flesh a home for our children to be born in. I go back to my mother, her hands sometimes rough from working. I go back to her tears, finding her alone in a room, going to her as she cried, knowing nothing of her wounds, holding her in my arms when I was too young to be told why, her hair graying, skin taking on lines, her body's proportion, balance, strength, with roots strong into the black Iowa prairie sod. Her tears would tear her apart and put her back together as they drained off pain we hardly knew existed. She was too kind to tell us why she cried or accuse someone we loved. I would be like you, Mother, crying in this world for release, at the end of a day, betrayed, crying for everyone, for your life. I will not fail you. You would not abandon us, saying to me, Jeff, you get out of it what you put into it. And it was not a cliche. And I hadn't been home for a year, and you came in the bedroom, which was my sister's, sat with me on the bed, talking of our family. I can't remember. Your love at that moment was the center of everything we are. Almost as if we needn't say a word, but sit there in a room under the queen palms that line the street full of Pacific Ocean air, knowing the immense and sensuous mystery of our common flesh. And to you I return, Father, who taught us to see the world with words angling off in irony, and with words teetering at the numinous rim of ecstasy, the self-loathing that is self-love, trying to navigate weird Acheron. We learned there was a place if there was a person alive in it. And as you stood there watering the lawn, you were watering us, yourselves, identifying the world's 2 or 3 necessary colors. We journeyed from the house with reckless curiosity, down canyons, up trees, long bike rides to the Adams car barns at the edge of our known world, learning to play every ball game till our eyes had seams. And how many years was it that you left us each evening to sleep elsewhere, or didn't make dinner at all, whole weeks gone? We filled in for you, sitting in your place, greeting you with kisses when you came, kisses when you left, drunk or sober. One night you'd been drinking. You came for dinner, cream-chipped beef on baked potatoes, and you ate yours so fast, with such incredulous pleasure, you asked to finish the rest of mine. I handed you my plate. Mom didn't go for it, but I'd have given you my arm if you desired it. And that evening, we asked you as you got up to go, if you were going to keep drinking when you left the house. And we were too young to know you couldn't stop. Asked you twice not to, and you knew we loved you and hated to see you drunk. And you wanted to be able to quit for us, but you needed to be unconscious for yourself. It was not a question of scales and balance, because you had no choice. And you didn't lie. You answered my question, yes, I think I'll keep drinking tonight, but not much. And I couldn't understand that, couldn't accept that truth after our entreaty, but with tears erupting, snapped at you, well, go drink yourself silly, and ran out the back door where idiot crickets were marking time until you passed out in your own tears, vomit, tobacco stains, eaten alive by a demon whose name has no sound. Later, stuck up 3 flights in the Berry Hotel, Market Street, $8 a week. Your room furnished with a mirror, a sink, and a coffin. I found you shuffling down the hall, and you didn't recognize me from 10 feet away in your absolute drunken innocence. But when I came into focus, before shame flooded what was left of your brain, love covered your shattered eyeballs, and you saw me standing there asking for something as stupid as keys for a car you'd lost or lent you didn't know. Your overgrown mustache stuck with tobacco, piss-stained pajamas collapsed on your body, but for one moment, faster than despair, I saw your raw feeling leap. That may be what you taught us, though it nearly killed you, and it might get you yet. I cannot know your whole history. You came home a few years later, remarried our mother. You slept on the sofa every night, unfolding the blankets. It was all understood, though none of us will ever know why. And you read us poems, that dolphin-torn, that gong-tormented sea, ran with us on the beach to set us on the journey we were already on that had nearly trapped you in all the loss you lived. But one night we both stared at a mysterious light that sat where the telephone lines entered the palm fronds across the street. From the front porch, from the sidewalk, that unbodied white light, with no existence other than our perception of it, held our gaze as we wondered, guessed, completely amazed. And we never found out what it was, vaguely needing a word for it, and it never came back again. It is that light I would find, uncaused source, an address, a visitation in a tree. Sometimes I think I have married that light. This season in us is our measure, our marriage. After circling myself from coast to coast, in tune and out of it, searching the road's music and landscape for some tongue I could speak to write this signature, we meet and the words come as the life you give me, a dimension beyond my reach by being so near. You make me laugh in your forms, female Proteus hopping at me in rabbit language, playful Aphrodite lifting me off the chair to dance these first years our need for rhythms and each other. For these people, all the world is translucent. Its most solid object is love. I can never give you anything if I don't give you everything there is.